Hi guys, Arnold here, the one hungry Hungarian, and on today's episode we're going to be looking at a very old recipe from my home country of Hungary. It is smoky bean soup, and basically it uses smoked pieces of pork, primarily the hocks, which is what I'll be using today, to create the stock, amongst other rustic ingredients and other goodies that go into it. So we'll go over all that. If you do like this recipe, I ask that you subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button below and the little notification bell to give you notifications when I upload new videos. I'm going to be using an Instant Pot for this one. You don't have to. This is just primarily for filming purposes. I recommend using just a regular old stock pot or soup pot to make this soup. It's a bit time consuming just because I'm using raw dried beans. I am not using the canned beans, so the beans do take a couple of hours to soak, but once those are soaked, it's fairly straightforward. So let's go get this recipe started and see how it turns out. I'm sure it'll be great. Okay, so ingredients, let's go over them. You're going to need some bacon, some smoked pork hocks, parsley or parsnip roots, carrots, you need garlic, tomato, a couple of bay leaves, onions, celery root, parsley, sea salt, sour cream, and paprika, both red and smoked if you have. In addition, you will also need some flour, as well as some oil and more garlic at the end, but I'll show you those steps later on in the video. At this point, I'm just going to chop up my onions nice and fine, and also the bacon, which I will add to the Instant Pot first to allow it to sear a little bit, and then add the rest of the stuff to follow. And while this is all heating up, I'm going to be dicing up a tomato and crushing up my garlic and adding it to the whole mixture. So while this is getting ready here, I'm going to be just cleaning up the vegetables, just getting them ready for adding at the end. So traditionally this is cooked with parsley root, not parsnips, but unfortunately, it's not available out this way, so I'll just use parsnips. They're okay. They're actually quite good as well. They're a little bit more sweeter than the parsley root would be. Another thing that I do use is the celery root, which is an absolute wonderful addition. If you're able to get it, most grocery stores will have it. Don't forget about your stuff here. Give it a good stir. Scrape up the onion. Add a nice flavor. Alright. This is looking quite good. And if you're looking to cut out your carbs, or cut down on them, this is a great replacement for potatoes. If you grill them or bake them in the oven, slice them about say yay thick, and throw them on the grill. They're yummy. And I'm just looking to get rid of the skin on this. Don't forget to stir. So this is ready. I'm going to add the hock, as well as lots and lots of water. At this point I can also add 2 bay leaves. They will add a lovely flavor. And so the idea here is to boil this for a good hour. that'll allow these pieces of pork hock to get nice and tender and for all the flavors to cook out of it. Just want to wait for this to boil up, and then I'm going to put the instant pot on the soup function. And let it go for about an hour. I'm going to cover it, with a lid, maybe possibly just maybe a wooden spoon over the lid to have a little bit of breathing room there. See how fast it boils. So at this point I'm just going to clean up here and come back to you once this started boiling, and I'll let you know what to do next. Okay, so I'm just going to chop up these vegetables here and put them into a bowl of cold water while we wait for the rest of the stuff to be ready. So at this point all I'm doing is making a stock with the small pieces of bacon and hocks and all the other stuff. And the vegetables and the beans will add in afterwards. This has to boil for a good hour now, so let me just get this prepared and then that's it. Okay, so we're back. It's been actually well over an hour and a half. I just wanted to get the smoked meat nice and tender. So I think it should be pretty good right now. It's been boiling. I was slow boiling it for a while. I just turned it up just before I started taping. I'm gonna see if I can pull the meat pieces out of the stock here and just set them aside for now. There'll be a use for these afterwards, of course, but for now I'm just going to remove them so they cool off a bit and so I can handle it. And then I'm going to add the beans as well as the other veggies here. The beans have been soaking in warm water for about 3 hours or so. Let me just double check everything here. I got it. Okay, so I'm going to add the veggies to this, and as you can see, I'm adding the parsley as well. There's going to be one final step with this, which is going to be to add some kind of a thickening flour mix, which I'll show you how to make. It's traditionally made in my country, Hungary. It's made with frying some flour in oil on a medium heat, and then adding it to the soup, so it adds a bit of flavor as well as a very nice thickening quality to it. Okay, so here are the beans, which I'm about to add. So this began with, you'll see the quantities in the description below, as well as on my upcoming blog that I'm currently working on. So you can actually have printable recipes ready to go. So yeah, so I'm gonna just wait until these guys come back to a boil. Boil them for about 15 minutes. These vegetables cook fairly quickly, so you don't need a lot of time to get them to be nice and tender. And then we'll show you what to do with the final step. So I'm just going to cut off the pieces of meat from the bones here to try and separate it. You can add this back into the soup afterwards. This is totally optional. If you're not into this stuff, it's fine. But this is so delicious. It's probably my favorite part, adding this back in. So yeah, it comes off very, very easily because it's cooked so tender. It pretty much just falls off. There you go. All the good pieces. And I'm going to just chop this up afterwards kind of fine, and then add it back into the boiling soup here in a moment. have it. Alright, so let's add this back in. I think my Instant Pot might just mildly overflow here. But it's okay, it's all worth it. The smell of this soup is just out of this world. The smokiness of the pork hocks, the meat, and the smell of these fresh cut vegetables just now, it's gonna be delicious. So I have added a bit of salt in the beginning when I started making the stock, so I'm just gonna give it a quick taste test to see if the saltiness is sort of sufficient. And it does need a little bit more salt. Not much, just a little bit. So I'm just gonna have to do this by feel. How much I think it might need. There we go. That's ought to be okay. And there we have it. So I'm going to let this boil for about another 10 minutes or so, at which point we'll do the final step. Next, we're going to prepare the thickening agent by heating up our oil on medium heat to about 320 Fahrenheit, and then kind of adding 1 tablespoon at a time the flour that you wish to add. It's kind of hard to exactly pre-measure how much is going to go in there. You know, you have to do it by the way it looks, and you're looking for kind of a thick texture, but not too thick once you mix it up all together. So let's get that done. And there's a couple of more ingredients that have to go into this, including some minced garlic and some more paprika once the flour starts frying up a little bit. And you'll see that those clumps will disappear once everything starts coming together. We call this process rantash in my language. It's used in quite a few recipes to make soups a little thicker without adding cornstarch. And what happens is all these flavors, when they fry together, the garlic and the paprika will really add a wonderful, wonderful taste to the whole soup at the end. And now we are going to just remove some of the liquid from the soup and kind of mix it up together. So if you try to put it in as is, it might end up a bit clumpy. So I like to add a little bit of liquid to it from the soup, mix it all up, and then add it in and stir the whole thing together. And you know what? It turned out quite lovely, as you will see at the end. And this is pretty much the final step you need to do. You'll just add everything in, stir it up a couple of times, and it's ready to be turned off and finished and served, which we're about to do. And the soup is done. That's all. Ready to serve. So let's serve this up. See how pretty I can make it in the plate. All right. Turn off the Instant Pot, and we're done. This is it for this recipe. I can't wait to try this. It looks absolutely delicious. I like it with a little bit of sour cream. It's completely optional. It's up to you. You don't have to use sour cream in yours. But look at the nice color. Yeah, the nice paprika. Good quality paprika is very important for this. Anyways, thank you for tuning in for this recipe, and I hope to see you again next time. Cheers.